Back out here working today. I think in the last video, I showed the shifter kind of binding up. Got these two pieces made up for the shifter. This one here is a piece of 1/2-inch pipe. I slid a piece of inch over it, made a spacer for the top. That's to keep this away from this one. And then the last video, this arm was short. I cut it and extended it. I've got a hole drilled right here that works real good over the 3/8 round rod I'm using. Then in the bottom of it, I welded a 3/8 washer. So this pivots real nicely on the all-thread rod. This one here, this is a 1-inch pipe slid over a half. It was a little loose in there, so I welded a bead around the inside of the pipe and ground it off with a die grinder until I could get a pretty tight fit in there, very little movement. So this is what I've got going right now. And let me set it in there and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, this is all setting down in place. This, get that on there. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, anyway, as we look at it, this side here works just like it's supposed to. There's neutral. That works real good. The bottom one works, but it's rubbing. It's rubbing on this bracket right here. If you hold it up to there, and then it works good. So all I've really got to do is get a spacer underneath the bottom of this to hold it up. Probably a little longer all-thread rod, because I'm not quite reaching the top when that's up like that. So a little longer piece of all-thread and a spacer at the bottom, and I think all of this is really good. So anyway, we can work with that. And the next thing is get some arms to go under here. And gosh, I hope that goes good. If it does, we're going to have this hooked up in no time. Just found a flat spot on this piece of round rod. Let's see if I can weld that bolt on there to get hooked to my shifter on the inside. There, guys. Don't know where I left off. Been out here working though. I've put a longer piece of all-thread rod in here. It's 3 or 4 inches longer. I figure I'll cut it off later. And I've made a spacer for the bottom. Just, I think that's a 2.5-inch section of 1-inch pipe, and I welded a 3/8 washer onto the top of it so it would stay centered, you know. I've got this one shifter arm made up completely. And what I did is I just put a piece of flat stock between the two sections. That's like 1/2-inch rod. I didn't think I could get good bends in it without a torch, and instead of just welding a piece of rod back in there, I thought that flat stock would make it stronger, which it did. That's really quite good. I still got to finish that weld off, but yeah, anyway. And this is hooked into the shifter up here on the one side. The shifter pivot thing, I've got it all made up. I ended up having to put a bend in this one so I could get my bolt heads to clear each other. I just made a pie cut here and bent it, tack welded it, then made another pie cut from the other side and put it in a vise, bent it down, and just welded my cuts shut. But that's all working real good, and there's not much play in it. Everything is sleeved pretty good. I think that's going to work. So let's kind of try everything out here for the first time. When I first started mocking this up and started just kind of checking my distances and things like that, I've had a concern that I wasn't going to be able to get into reverse. Reason being, the transmission has a longer throw to get in reverse, like first, second, third, pretty close. Reverse is quite a throw to get it in there. And I could tell I was going to be close, but I didn't know if I was going to quite make it, if I had enough forward range on my shifter to get it to pull up in reverse. And then I thought, even if I do, where my shifter linkage hooks in, it's going to almost pull it straight. So then when I try to go back with it, it's going to jam. Well, I'll show you, but I got just enough that it's working. And we'll try it out and see what happens. It's working right now in the garage anyway. If you get to driving it and there seems to be a problem, I do have a couple ideas. The easiest being, well, I'll show you, but just mounting a spring there to give it a little push, you know. But anyway, let me show you where I'm at with everything. It is working. I've been keeping in mind while doing this of the gear pattern. I wanted to try to get it right if I could, you know, whereas a 3-speed, you got reverse up and then first and then over to second and third. So I've been trying to lay this out in such a way that that was right, and I've got it right. I'm in reverse right now, and you can see that this didn't quite pull it straight, so it's not locked there. It'll go back. But I thought if I had to, I can mount a bracket right here with a little coil spring on it, pushing against, probably put it here, so it pushes against that bracket when you're in reverse. That way, when you go to take it out, you got just a little help to get past this breaking point. But right now, it doesn't seem like I'm going to have to do that. It's just enough that it works. And then another thing I thought I could do, if not the spring idea, was where the rod hooks in for reverse right here. I could maybe drill that hole a little bit lower, and it might shorten that throw just enough that that would. But those are the two options I've got to fix that problem, if it indeed is a problem. I bought some round rod 3/8, so I'm going to replace these all threads with. You can't bend 90s in this all thread without it breaking unless you heat it. And some of these bends I already had in it from an earlier project, and they were heated and bent that way. So on the other ones, I've just been cutting it and re-welding tacks on it to get my 90s. But now that I know these links are right, or I think they are anyway, I'm just going to pull them back out and put all thread in, and then put holes with cotter pins. But I put a brace across the top of this tower temporarily. It's going to get a brace from here going back to the motor to hold the top of this. So for right now, so I could test it, I had some of this garage door hanger stuff, and I C-clamped it over there on the muffler and wedged it up against the sideboard here, so that's all holding pretty straight. Right now I've only got first and reverse hooked up, but let me see if I can show you. We're in reverse right now. That's where the shifter's setting. I had plenty of throw on my shifter. I could have went further up that way, but it would have put my my shifter rod straight with the, you know, that's the part that was going to lock up on me. But second and third, it won't do that, I don't think. But right now we're in reverse, and let me show you. If I go forward with this, you can see I'm going backwards over there, so it is engaged. Try to watch here out the back window. was kind of locked on me. There's first, neutral. First and neutral work good. There's reverse. It does kind of lock there. So let's see, we're in neutral now. It just puts this angle a little too severe. So we are going to have to work that out, but that's workable. We can fix that. So the next one is getting, this will be, that would be second. That would be third. Looking on it down there. So I think we're going to go ahead and just get second and third hooked up. First, second, and third's going to work just fine, and we'll figure out how to make reverse work just a little bit better. It'd be nice to have it just a little bit better. It works, but it doesn't work smoothly. So I'm going to keep going here. Let's see, are both of these in neutral? Yeah. So I've got about 3 inches of throw there between second and third. And I've got 6 inches of room to do here. So if I center neutral in this area right here with my flat stock, I should have my 3 inches of throw, which means I can drill this hole on a level plane with this one and not have to go lower or anything, because I'm not going to be crossing any of this. So I'm going to drill another hole right here and get the other shifter arm coming through the back of the cab. Get that side hooked up. I got that cut off and ground a little bit of a curve into it. I'm gonna get it welded on here and try to get the bolts so they're, when in neutral, they're directly across from each other. Might go that way with it. Anyway, let's get that on there. Okay. Got that welded on there. Our rod's going to go to the outside of the bracket, so I'm going to say we're going to be looking at 4 1/4 inches. So we'll transfer that measurement back here. Thinking right there, 4 1/4 center and 3/4 up. Drill a hole. Hey, look at that now, would you? Let's stick that in there and see what happens. Hey, if I didn't know any better, I'd think old Henry Ford stopped here in the middle of the night and done that. That's pretty good. So anyway, let's get one more rod made up. Hook in the back down there and we'll start heading this way. See where we got to connect the two. Right here in the middle. This piece of rod here is not long enough, and this one's got a pretty good bend in it. And I got one more outside, so let's go look at that. Beautiful sunny day. And it's got a good straight section in it. We'll use it. Just ground a flat spot in there and got my first tack on. That looks pretty straight. I'm gonna go ahead and finish welding her up. All right, that's all done up. Get the camera to focus. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this just a little longer, and I think I need it. Stick it in there. Do 37 inches for now, and then we'll trim it back a little later. All right, guys, I think I can call this shifter pretty well done. And I gotta say, it doesn't work too bad. Let me show you what we got. It's coming through the back of the cab. Hooking in down there. I think I've showed this 1,000 times already, but I'll show you what it acts like. Right now we're in neutral. If you guys weren't watching when I made the shifter, there's a spring on either side of this and then a notch in either one of these. These were shop or yeah, jack wheels, floor jack wheels. But anyway, let's go over here to second and third. We'll look out the back window. It works beautifully. We'll go to the other side, which is neutral and reverse. There's reverse. Kind of hard to get out of reverse. And there's first. So if we were doing a quick shift, first, second, third, back to neutral. I mean, what can you say? I mean, that's going to be completely drivable. If you had that in your everyday car that you drove to work every day, you'd get by with that. That ain't bad at all. So we're going to call that good. And I've been looking here, and I think as soon as I get the hole drilled through the floor for the clutch cable, I think I'm ready to bolt the motor on, because that's the last thing. It should probably be in my way. Might be hard to get a drill in there. But drill that hole, we'll bolt the motor down, and really start buttoning up some of this stuff. Well, from that day a couple months ago when I built that shifter, I've been dying to get this done. The day I was doing the shifter, I had the basic idea for this in my head. And it's just been something I thought would be fun to do. You know, it's kind of complex. But I had to make some changes from my original plan, but the basic ideas worked. My original thoughts, I was going to have 2 of these towers sticking up, but then if I had them side by side, the arms would have hit each other, and I came up with the idea to the 1/2-inch pipe and the 1-inch pipe and put it on a singular pivot point, and that way everything would just kind of clear better. Otherwise, I think that's really the only modification I made to my original plan. It was just a matter of figuring out lengths, so I had a full throw to get into all the gears and keeping the gear pattern right, because I thought if I could, I want to stick with the classic 3-speed pattern. You know, why wouldn't you if you can? And that was going to be like if these arms at the bottom had came off on the other side, it would have reversed it. So you just kind of had to keep that in mind as you was going, and left and right, and which one to hook up. Kind of like being a plumber, you know, like cold's on the right, hot's on the left, and put in links and pieces until everything fits. I mean, that's really basically what this was. And you know, a couple of the old plumbers I used to work with, 2 of them anyway, those guys built cars, they built houses, we would go on the weekends and build decks for people and shingle roofs, and really on a weekend we'd do anything we could think of that wasn't plumbing, because who the hell wants to do plumbing on the weekend if you're doing it all week? But I always found that the guys that did everything back then were the better plumbers, you know. And after they retired, one of them died, and the other one's real old now and can't walk. But after they retired and their health got bad, I was the one they called to do all their work, because to them guys, how could you repair a furnace or put a flapper on a toilet if you're not able to set the preload on hydraulic valves or change a clutch in a Sportster, you know? And that's the way they looked at it. They wanted me to come and do it because I could do other stuff. And someday when I get old and retire and I can't do anything, I would like to have somebody like that. But I can't think of any of the younger guys that are doing everything like that anymore, you know? I wish I could find a guy like that. I'd probably hire him. But anyway, yeah, I think the next video the motor goes on, and I think I probably have everything I need here to do the gas tank. We'll get the throttle cable dropped through the floor, see what we got to do to hook that up, as well as the clutch. I don't think will take very long. Anyway, very happy with it. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I think we're going to do a little video on Eliza soon. I know there's a few of you guys that are itching to see some work done on that, and there's a lot of work I want to do on that. But some of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to take the running boards off and redo them. I wanted to put new shackle mounts and bushings, new shackles on it. The bushings are bad. But a lot of that requires being underneath the car on a creeper, and I'm just having a hard time working with this plastic this year. And it might even be giving me a bit of a mental block. Like I just feel like I need things a little more buttoned up with this garage before I can do that precision work better, because everything I'm doing on Eliza, I'm trying to do pretty nice. Whereas this, it doesn't. It's kind of like the difference between if you're a carpenter building a corn crib or building kitchen cabinets. That's more of the kitchen cabinet work, and this is more of the corn crib work. And with the condition of the garage right now, I just feel more comfortable, I think, in my own mind doing corn crib work. But anyway, I'll get back to what I was saying. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. Please like, comment, share, all them things. We'll catch you on the next one. Later, Jeremy.